What does it take to be a successful entrepreneur? A dangerous amount of coffee and a ton of grit. My name is Jason Tracy, and every week I interview business leaders to share their stories, life lessons, failures, and advice with you. Welcome to Coffee and Grit. What is up? What is up? What is up? Welcome back to another episode of Coffee and Grit. And I think I nailed that same intro every single time. That's kind of crazy. I think people probably think that's on auto loop.
If only they knew.
If only they knew. I just nailed the same thing over and over again. Like, pretty crazy.
It's just like we drew it up.
Just like we drew it up. I love when a plan comes together. It's my favorite quote by the late great Colonel John Hannibal Smith from the A-Team.
Yeah, buddy.
Yeah, buddy. What is up? We are now 2 weeks into the new year. I'm super excited for the guests that we have in the studio today. Darin Bassett from Full Spectrum Car Care, and just some other really, really cool stuff that this guy is up to. And again, this world is so amazing how you get connected to people. We were just talking about our mutual friend, Ryan Griggs, and Ryan Griggs was on a few months ago. And in his episode, Ryan, man, he just talks about, he's a community guy. He's a connector, and he shouted out so many freaking people. You could just see like why he's seeing the kind of results he's seeing is because he's just one of those people that pours into other people. And right after our show, he was like, you need to meet my guy, Darrin. He's got a auto detailing company and close to you in Brighton. I think you guys would connect. And Darrin and I kind of like dated online for a little bit. And then social media posting. And I'm like, we talk about somebody the other day told me I was a true social media influencer, and I was like, that's funny. It's cool. I appreciate it. But Darrin, man, like this guy in the cool story and just some just the things he's got kicking. This guy is a social media influencer, and it's cool what you can do in business and kind of how things spin out. So I'm super excited to talk about that. Man, just some really, really cool things happening. And I talked last week, the coffee coming out, Lion's Breath, the first batch coming in this week. So super excited for all the things going on. But man, Darrin, welcome to the studio. Thanks for coming down.
Thank you for having me. It's great to be here.
My absolute pleasure. So tell me a little bit about how did you get started? How did you start your business?
Started cleaning cars at 16. Just, washing my friends' vehicles in my backyard. We used to have focus meets at the house, 15 plus focuses in my front yard. And they always liked how clean my car was, and started from there, went to a dealership. As far as the social media stuff goes, it just kind of took off one day. I was posting my tools in tool groups and had Milwaukee reach out to me. I really don't know.
Yeah. So you're doing cars at 16, like you're just kind of like this fun thing.
Yep, and making a little bit of money with it, and then I went to Alexis of Ann Arbor, learned from someone very valuable, Leo, and he taught me the basics of how to detail a car. I ended up taking a big knack to that because my stepdad had me very well put together in that aspect. Growing up, his cars were always clean. The garage was spotless. He'd know if something was moved. So that kind of ingrained into me the qualities that I have today.
I love that.
I'm doing.
I love that because remember when we were talking back at the coffee table a few weeks ago and just kind of like talking about our childhoods and like how like stuff that we didn't necessarily want to go through.
I didn't think that would have any effect on my life today, and it has the biggest impact, I'd say.
From a positive standpoint.
Yeah, absolutely. And, at the time I wasn't, it was annoying. Why does it have to be this way? Why do my cars have to be dusted on the perfect wood board? All my Hot Wheels every week, they'd be taken down and dusted, like that. That's just something that stuck with me.
Did you say he had like a military background, or is that?
No. He was just he was a car salesman. Worked for Varsity Ford in Ann Arbor for a long time.
Okay, I said that because it sounded like it was like kind of like a military regiment of.
It felt like it, honestly. I did a lot of stuff outdoors. a lot of stuff with wood and just taking care of, this vast woods that we had, taking care of it, making sure it was tidy, there wasn't just falling down stuff all over the place. It was nice and neat, like his whole entire life. So
then, I mean, you're doing that at the dealership and you're doing detailing. How do you then go out and start your own thing?
So I was working at the dealership. I left and went and worked for a window tinner for a little bit, learning the ropes of that. Went back to the dealership again. And then I decided that I didn't want to do this for anyone else anymore, because I had certifications that I had got for through IGL, like Ryan is too. And I just, it wasn't fair, and I wanted to do it myself. I felt like I could do it better than the circumstances that I was given at the time. And I found that I could, obviously.
Yeah.
Yeah, it really worked out. It was rocky in the beginning. I left in like the worst time possible, like beginning of November. That's like the start of the slow season for detailers. So,
because people are not, because like when you say detailing, like I want to give people like the image of the types of vehicles that you're doing. It's not just like everyday probably drivables.
No. So I mainly deal with like show cars and cars that rarely ever see the road, and people are so particular about that, take that next extra step. I'm not doing interiors every day. I'm polishing paint and removing scratches, getting them, ready for show. So there's a differentiation between car washing and detailing, and there's like a very big gray area in between there that a lot of people don't understand the difference. They hear detailer and they're like, oh, well, can you come vacuum my car for me? Sure. I don't know if you want to pay that hourly rate, but sure.
I'll come and do it.
Anything for you.
I love that. Like, because I don't, part of this is education, because I don't think there's a lot of people, that do get that there's a difference between car washing and detailing. And I don't think I really even understood until I saw the types of photographs that both you and Ryan are posting of the types of vehicles that you're doing, because I remember even when I met Ryan, I'm like, oh, you do my, we do my carpets, you do my car, like whatever.
Which is fine. I mean, we all have to start somewhere.
Mm-hmm.
And it's not like we ever really leave there. It's just I have built the clientele that I want. I put out there what I want to do. So I have a lot of clients that really help me with that and spread the word. And I always heard that a square inch of a man's tongue is worth more than any ad you can put out. So the word of mouth is just crazy, and it happens. I have a lot of people on my social media that'll just shout me out all day. And I love that. It's great.
The word of mouth, and when people send you referrals or they go out and they vouch for you, like that is worth, to your point, so much more than putting a billboard up or doing some sort of advertising, because you have a trust. And you probably see this too. Any referral I've ever gotten in my career, it's almost like it's not even a sale. They're there ready to go because they already have that belief level in you.
Right. And with the kind of vehicles and the kind of services that I offer, there has to be that trust, because like these are people's second most valuable assets,
Yep.
So it definitely helps out in that aspect, having that verification from your other clients.
I love how you said you work with the clients and you set up the clientele that you wanted, because I think so many people get into business and they just try to find the money and they chase the money, and it's the reverse, that you actually find the money when you know exactly what you want.
because otherwise I'll just be getting people that are like, well, a car wash does that in 5 minutes and for $15. And I'm like, well, a lot more goes into this. When you bring your vehicle to me, I take excessive care. Whereas composed to, just the quick wash and vac, that's not even close to the amount of care and that I put into vehicles.
Before we get back at it, a quick shout out for our sponsor, Playbook Builder, powered by AI. This show has always been about giving the resources and the tools to small business owners in order to grow and scale your businesses successfully. And so I'm so excited to partner with a company that does just that. If you've listened and heard any of our guests, you've heard talking about building process, developing and training, building culture, are all such important pieces in order to building a great company. Well, Playbook Builder, powered by AI, has come along and revolutionized the game on how you can do that for your team and people. Whether you're onboarding new people, training and developing, continued training and developing, you're looking to scale your business or eventually sell, or most importantly, you're looking to build a legacy as a visionary. Playbook Builder, powered by AI, is able to solve those problems for you. For me as a consultant, I've been able to plug in, and it's so amazing for what I do for clients. I can now leave a legacy. And so, for example, I'm next week training a new hire for a company, and I've been able to build out the next month of her training program using Playbook Builder, powered by AI. The cool thing about the AI, what does that do? What's the hardest part of building out a process? Taking the step by step and making it easy to learn. What the AI piece does is you can actually type in what process it is, whether you want to onboard, if you want to onboard a new employee, type in onboard a new employee and what type of industry you're in, and the AI will put together a foundation for you to build out your playbook. It is absolutely incredible. But don't take my word for it. Head on over to playbookbuilder.com, and these guys have set it up to where you can take this for a test run with no obligations. Plug in what kind of playbook you want to build. If it's a sales training playbook, for example, plug that in the description. And in the description, you can also put in what kind of industry you're in, and then hit generate, and it will generate a playbook for you. Impress from there, and you can take a 30-day free trial of the playbook system altogether. Even talking about going and getting business, I remember we were having this conversation and I asked you, like, how did you go and get started? Like if you don't know what type of clientele and you'll just work with anybody, you're probably putting like cards and flyers on every car versus.
And I've always been against that.
Yeah.
There was one client I had picked up, and he had pulled up. I was having breakfast with my mom and my fiance. My firstborn, my secondborn wasn't here yet, but he had pulled up in a Ferrari, and I was like, okay, this is what I want, So I didn't have any business cards on me. The car was 2 blocks away. I went and ran to the car, grabbed my business card, came back. This guy's sitting down with his family. Obviously, probably doesn't want to talk to somebody on a Sunday regarding business while he's sitting down with his family at breakfast. But, I had to seize the opportunity because, you don't get the order you don't ask for. So I went up, introduced myself, gave him my card. And he's like, give me a call on Monday. And turns out he had like 3 million plus in cars in a warehouse. Now, that you would never know because they never leave.
Yeah.
So I spent a lot of time dialing all those in, getting them perfect, measuring the paint, making sure there was enough to do what I need to do safely, and getting it done, knocking it out. But I wouldn't have got that had I had not ran 2 blocks of the car, grabbed my business cards, went up to him, and, said what I had to say.
And let fear sit in while you're running to the car, and you're talking about like he's with his family. It's on a Sunday. He doesn't want me to bother. $300,000 car. He doesn't want me soliciting him. There's so many of us that would talk ourselves out of it from there to the car. So exactly. For you to do that, and it goes back to what you said. I love that with the square inch of a man's tongue.
is worth more than anything.
Is worth more than anything, because you could have swallowed that. You could have came back and sat down with your family and just been like, now it's
Kept
probably
my
not the
business
time.
card in the pocket. No.
That one conversation opens up an opportunity for you. That's huge.
Yeah. But my life has been crazy, and that is the main reason why, I'd say, because I'm willing to put myself out there and get done what I need to get done.
And again, and you talked about the beginning, Milwaukee, and you told a really condensed version, because I know it wasn't just like you knocked on the door and it was there, like you were in a group commenting and, like interacting.
Making posts, almost daily. It felt like, and on my TikTok, it is daily that I'm talking about Milwaukee. But just, I saw videos from their event last year, and I was like, I have to go. I'm going. And, sure enough, a month before the event, they reached out and were like, hey, we have a PR opportunity for you. I was like, oh, really? Well, they're like, can we give you a call tomorrow? I was like, absolutely. Like Milwaukee Tool in my inbox. Are you joking?
Can we give you a call tomorrow? What time?
Yeah. I'll wait by the phone. Seriously. Incredible.
So like they call you.
They call me. They're like, we have this event where we release all our new tools for the year. And I was like, oh, pipeline. And they're like, yeah, so you've heard of it. And I was like, absolutely. They were like, well, we want you to go. And I was like, you're serious? Absolutely. I'll take the time off now. When is it? They're like, oh, we'll fly you out. We'll get you a hotel. Milwaukee's not that far, so we ended up driving. But they ended up giving me a gas card instead of flying. Hotel was super nice. It was amazing. I got to get in touch with a bunch of content creators that, I've been watching. Some big guys that are on YouTube, million subscribers.
Yeah.
So it was truly a surreal experience. And then it's insane how I went from, I had first left my full-time job with what little Milwaukee tools I had. I mean, I say little, but there was a decent amount of stuff, and 2 days later it got all taken from me. So it's crazy how I went from losing it all to, getting free stuff from Milwaukee.
I totally forgot about this part of the story, and I'm so glad you said that, because you started your business.
Yes.
You had your tools. And you say little now because I've seen your videos with your tool collection. But you get out there, start your business to clean, and all your stuff taken 2 days later.
Yeah, just right out from underneath me. It was insane. I had stopped at Home Depot to get some stuff to fix up my son's room because we were finally gonna put him in there. I had got some wood, unlocked my truck bed, and my pack out with everything in it was right there. So someone must have saw it. We left Home Depot, and I guess I didn't lock it back up. That's on me, I can't, blame anyone else, but they went in there and took it when we were just out and about running errands after that. And I had to replace everything. And this was, again, at the worst time for detailer.
You started a business in November.
Yes.
To what we talked about at the beginning.
Started a business in November, the cold season. I didn't have a shop. I was working out of my garage. I had to heat it with propane. It was just crazy. And then that really hurt, honestly.
And where do you go from there? Because that's 2 days in. Obviously, you talk about timing is bad. Like, how do you gather yourself and keep going?
I was in a really low spot, and thankfully I had my fiance there, and she was a very big support to me. She continued working, and I was at home. I had a BMW in the shop. Well, I say shop, I mean my garage.
Yeah.
And it was hard to find the motivation to do that. At that point, I was at a really low depressive state, and thank God for, my fiance and my son for, I had something to, live for at that point. Because I have been depressed before. I've been in those low lows. And I don't know, something just snapped one day, and I was like, okay, well, I'm not gonna live my life. Woe is me. I'm always the victim. I mean, no one's gonna come and help me. I have to do it. So I don't know, something just switched, and then like I said, I have that support system of people that are like, oh, well, I have this if you want to do it. I have this. And it just kind of snowballed from there. I got my motivation back. I started buying tools again with the money that I had made.
It's so freaking awesome, like how the world starts coming together. And you said, like, all of a sudden now you have this community of people that are like, here, I have this, and helping you really piece it together. The people, your fiance, your son, having that reason to push out of it.
Yeah, and I would say that whole support system was the best thing that I could have had, and I'm very grateful and lucky to have people like that, because not everyone has support. And I guess it would be really difficult for someone to, pull themselves out of something like that if they had to rely on, strangers bringing them business.
But like, what's, because I love what you said, because I've said the same thing of like, I can't sit here and wait because no one's going to come and help me. Right. If we sit here and wait to try to do better for ourselves or make ourselves successful, or even just try to feed ourselves, like just waiting for somebody else and hoping that they're going to help us isn't going to get us anything. You had to decide that you're not going to fail. You're going to take action. You're going to move forward before people came out and were like, hey, I can help you here. I can help you here.
Right. And the universe has a funny way of doing that.
Yeah.
You have to take that first step. You have to place your order. You have to tell them what you want and then do it.
Place your order and then do it.
Do the work.
Yep. Yeah. Going back to Milwaukee, showing up, commenting, doing the things. You didn't just wake up and Milwaukee was like, picked you out of a hat.
Yeah, no, like I'm sure there is a lot of qualified people, but I put in that work. I was making posts. I posted on my TikTok every single day. I struggled for that first 1,000 followers on TikTok. Struggled. And now, it's still not much more, but I still put in the work.
Yep.
And I got what I wanted because of that. It's crazy.
It's crazy. It's crazy, but it's not. You put in the work and you have full belief in yourself.
Yeah, and everyone's like, oh, I'm so lucky, but they didn't see this, all the 100 steps I had to take to get there. They're like, oh, Milwaukee tool? Yeah, of course, everyone wants it.
That's exactly it. And that's why even a big reason for this show is like people out there, like they just see you posting, or Milwaukee, or other guests I've had, they see people be successful in certain ways and they're like, oh, they must have got lucky. Must be nice. It must be easy. Like they have no idea what you had to do to get from here to here.
Yeah, it's, you make your own luck.
Yeah.
And I definitely did. I put in the work. The universe was like, okay, here's what you want. You worked for it.
Yep.
It wasn't just like, one day. I never post Milwaukee tool in my life. You know,
All of a sudden you won the lotto. Milwaukee's like,
Right.
you, Darrin.
Hey, come
You look
here.
like a guy that could do this. I love I saw this video a few weeks ago where somebody must have been like hating on your like replying like Milwaukee's never given you tools or something like that, and then you put this video of like I like this one or this one or this one.
I love it because you know I had made a post and I was like it was a joke. And I was like, oh, here's my Christmas list I'm going to send to Milwaukee. And then someone was like, yeah, they're not sending you anything. And I was like, well, they sent me to Milwaukee. So what is that? But I get a lot of that on my videos. You know, you're not a mechanic.
Yeah.
You think this truck fixes itself? No, it doesn't. But you know, people like that aren't heard.
Yeah.
So they get behind a keyboard and they feel like they can be heard. And I gave them the opportunity. I made a video for you. Are you happy?
I love it.
You're heard now.
Yep. You listen. I love that. And I love that mentality too of knowing, you know, like it's one of those things when I get a hater on a post, I'm like, yes, I'm finally doing something. I'm finally doing something. One, yes, more content because it is a chance to reply, right, and hear them in reply. But it's also one of those things is like, I don't think you're doing something until you have people that come out and say you're wrong. I hate you. Like, you're ugly. I don't know, like whatever it is they want to say.
People don't steal from trees that bear no fruit.
Yes.
So,
yep.
You know, seeing that you have fruit on your tree, people I want a piece of that, you know? And that's what it is.
Yep.
And I say that all the time on people that are like, "What? Why are these people like this to me?" And I'm like, because you worked hard and you have something of value that they want.
Yeah.
You have this podcast. They want to be on a podcast, you know?
Yep.
So.
Well, and that's what's really cool. Like, because like I've had people reach out to me that want to be in the podcast, and guess what? We have a conversation and they come on the podcast. And some of our coolest episodes have been people that have like reached out and been like, I'm kind of afraid to ask this, but would you consider having me on the podcast? You know, like, hell yeah, let's have a conversation. Like, what do you know, like, let's go, you know, like, so people will sit in, they don't take action. They succumb to the fear. They succumb to like, when you don't do something, you're going to have fear either way, right? Like if you didn't go have that conversation with that guy at lunch, right? You still would have fear. But eventually you'd have like this resentment and regret that you didn't go out and do the things that you wouldn't know what your future looked like as you're building right now. You wouldn't see what you did, but you would know that you failed at it. And you have this regret and resentment and this like must be nice kind of attitude.
I couldn't live like that.
Me neither.
I can't. You know, and missing opportunity, you know, like that. I just, oh God. That would be horrible. I don't know where I was going with that.
Yeah. No, but I mean, if you think about it, like, and it's your choices are getting you the things that people are saying it must be nice or they want that. And all they have to do is do that thing that you did. You know what I mean? Like different. We're all different. We all have our own strengths and things that we love, but all you have to do is conquer that inner fear and go out and speak.
Have those, you know, make the opportunities. Don't just wait for them to come knocking for you.
Absolutely.
Because that's not how life works.
It's not how life works. So super cool. And I totally forgot your wristband. So my son for Christmas, he got this, it's super cool. He got me these wristbands. In fact, I just pulled this one in the package. You can totally have it. So, Eat faces is my slogan. I don't know if I've ever told you the story or if you've heard this or not, but I'll tell you the story here real quick. But the reason why I thought about it is on the inside, he put in like this inscription that says, "Don't wait for opportunity, go create it." And that is, that's where it's at right there. And he was like, got me this bag of 100. And he was like, I was thinking you can hand them out to your guests every week on the podcast. And I'm like, oh my God, that's like one for a 15-year-old, super thoughtful, super cool,
Genius.
Genius. And, but for me, so eat faces, it comes down to that same exact thing that you said, like, no one's going to come and help me. Like if I just sit here and do nothing, no one's going to come and help me. And so when I was a sales director for a company, we had won franchisee of the year across the country. So out of 500 owners across the country, we won the top award. And so I had my leadership team with me, and we were out in Chicago and we were celebrating, and these different owners had joined us, and like the upper leadership of the franchise and everything had taken us out for drinks, and all these different owners from the company had went out with us, and we were all celebrating. And this one guy starts talking to me, his name's Eric, and he starts telling me about all the reasons why he's not us, why he's not successful. And it was like all the other people did stuff to him, right? Like he's a victim kind of thing. Like he was like, the franchise told me they're going to make me successful. They told me that, if I joined, they were going to help me become a successful small business owner, and they're going to show me the way. And the carrier, they don't care about you unless you're hitting numbers, and my people steal from me. And it was just one thing after another. And I got to a certain point where I got fed up, and I was, drinks were flowing too. So like, I say, man, Eric, this is the deal. Like I'm hearing exactly what he's saying, and what he's saying is not wrong. The franchise told us they were going to make us successful too. And so I'm like, they told the owner of our company, they're going to make her successful too. The thing is I knew if I waited in my hands and waited for them to come down and make us successful, I'd be sitting here the same way as you and waiting for somebody else to come and help me, and be bitter about it that nobody did come and help me and make me better. And the carrier, they do only care about if you're hitting numbers and getting results for them. But guess what? They tell you what they want you to hit. And so they don't make it rocket science. I just figure out how to get my team to go sell those things, and how to help, how to position those products and how to hit their numbers. And guess what? Now they give me cash incentives that you didn't even know about. Like they're paying me kind of like Milwaukee, like they're giving me things that you didn't even know existed. Right. I got opportunities and doors open for me and the reason why is because at the end of the day, I'm a face eating lion. They'll eat your fucking face off if it comes down to whether I'm going to eat or my people are going to eat, right? Like if it comes down to the end of the day, I've got to take action.
Are you going to be the hunter or the hunted?
Right.
I was at that point in my life, and I decided I couldn't live like that anymore. Like I said, you don't expect a plate, you bring your own. So I know a lot of people like that, and I try to cut that out of around me, because that's like, it's poison.
It is.
That toxic mentality. It's all in your head. All of it.
We all have challenges.
Yeah, and it's up to you to, put your big boy pants on and get it done. I don't know. I've had those challenges. I'm sure you've had those challenges. It's
like you start your business and your tools are taken, right? 2
yeah,
days
woe is me.
In November.
Yeah, right. But that kind of drove me, there was a point where I was, low, and I had no drive to do anything. And then, got tired of, waiting for, like they're just going to show back up. Like, no, they're not. They're gone.
Yeah. If I wait right here, maybe they'll bring them back.
Silly.
So compared to like the tools you had taken, what is your tool just like now?
Oh, it's like 100 times what I had.
Yeah.
I'd say. I like, even just this week, I've had 3 or 4 companies reach out to get me to test product and make videos on it for TikTok Shop or whatever. Olight, this flashlight company that I've already bought flashlights from them. They sent me out a flashlight this week that I'm really happy about. who gets excited about flashlights, but me.
Yeah.
So I just think that stuff's really cool because, you know, there's an abundance of everything in this world, and a lot of people don't see it that way. They see scarcity, and they think that's all there is, and that it's just really toxic to your mindset. You know, everything I ever wanted came to fruition, and it's still going.
It's
So
still going.
I just don't know. I'm speechless about it. So
What's that next thing on in your fruition?
I don't know. I just want to go full force with content, I think. And, you know, I've already been on the path of, you know, here and there while in between doing stuff. I've been making content, but I don't edit anything. It's all mainly just point and shoot and post. So I don't know. I think that's
Your
my
content
next
looks
step.
really good considering you don't do any editing. I thought for sure you were doing something.
Oh,
some kind of
no.
editing.
No. And
That's
I have a
solid.
Mac. Like I could do, and none of that. It's just, I just point and shoot.
Yeah. I mean, you're you're killing it. I thought for sure you were like editing stuff.
No. So I think that's something I'm going to work towards. It's something I'm definitely going to work towards.
It's like upping the game, continuing to get better with the content level of content you're putting out there.
Absolutely, because I like the way this is going. So, and I don't want it to end, and I don't want to sit at the same spot either.
Yep.
So there's only one way to go: quit or up. So I'm not a quitter.
I love it, man. I love it. It's like only quitter up, but it's like I'm not a quitter. Going, you know. Yeah. It's so cool. Like again, it's that perseverance and it's knowing what you want, and then going out and talking about it.
Right, because that helps. Because if you, in your mind, believe that you can do it, what's stopping you? Your mind 90% of the time.
90% of the time.
So
Telling you all the reasons why you can't be successful.
right.
F that.
No. Heck no. Yeah, and like there was a point in time where I was that person. I was fearful of everything. I was thinking of 100 reasons why I can't in my head before I even did the thing.
How did you flip that?
Realizing that no one was coming to save me. I have a son now, you know, I have to make it happen. My fiance now is, you know, a stay-at-home mom to our 2 kids. I didn't want to have, she was working a full-time job. I was sick of that. You know, I don't know. I just had to make it happen. I didn't want my son to be like, grow up and he's like, oh, well, my dad could have. He could have had the best detail shop in Livingston County, but he didn't. You know, that's something. And, you know, David Goggins, do you know who?
I love David Goggins. Yeah,
Okay.
Yeah.
So he was talking about you get up to heaven, God's got a portfolio right there of all the things you could have been.
Oof.
Like you could have been this, or, you know, I don't even remember what he said, and I don't want to butcher it, but that just like was like.
If you think about it, and we talk about fear, you know, a lot earlier, and that's what's preventing us from doing those things. But at the end of the day, we're going to die. And if you didn't go have that conversation, you know what I mean? You didn't go do those things and push forward and like live the life that you want to live. What does it matter at the end of the day? Like I said this a couple episodes ago, like the biggest fear is, I've always been told this my whole life, is the biggest fear is speaking in public. And the biggest fear is dying. Like if I'm going to die, what does it matter if I go speak in public? Like at the end of the day, I'm dead, you know?
Right.
So when you got out, how did you name your company?
So I want to say I'm on the spectrum, as far as like ADHD and OCD goes. Um, I'm really not stuck to that name. I kind of wanted to like rebrand into just like me.
Yeah. Because it fits with everything you're doing anyways and your social media and
Right. And, I don't know if, because I do a lot of tool reviews and that's where a lot of my views on my content come from. So full spectrum car care, I guess it fits in there, but I kind of wanted to rebrand into that for me.
That's so like we talk about again challenges I know I've seen you post about ADHD and people I've heard people say I can't be an entrepreneur because of XYZ, and we talk about ADHD is the one that's come up a lot, and I see people honestly that are on the spectrum ADHD that are the people.
Exactly. How do you do it without?
Yeah. Yeah, exactly.
You have so many things that you have to focus on, and I feel like there's a lot of people that are on the spectrum that don't know it. Yes. And a lot of people that are on the spectrum that are entrepreneurs themselves. And that fear, holds them back from doing what they want to do.
So was that something that you at one point felt like it held you back, or have you always seen it as kind of like a superpower?
I feel like it, as far as the business aspect goes, I feel like it was, put that fear in my mind that it was holding me back.
Yep.
But it definitely hasn't. Because just have done what I've done in the past in just this year has been spectacular. So.
That's exactly it. I love it. And again, I ask those questions because for people listening that are sitting there like, oh, I can't do it because of this. I can't do it because of this. I love hearing people like, that's actually one of the reasons why I'm able to do this. Like, how do you do it without? I love that response.
Do it for this. Like,
yeah. But again, it's so important, like tying down to that why, I could see that being a big shifter for you, your son, your fiance. Like, I love what you said. Like, my dad could have did this, or he could have did that. He could have been the best detailer. Because I hear that a lot when you hear kids or like, they talk about parents, like people of my age talk about their parents, like, oh, my dad was an entrepreneur. He had this business, but he could have did something, but or he always wanted to do this thing,
I don't want that to be me.
Me neither. Me neither. For me, I held myself back from my business for a long time because my why was I wanted to give my son and my wife a better life than what I grew up with, because we grew up super poor. I grew up living in apartments most of my life. And so like having a house and having a car and being able to go on vacations and do these things was like, whew, I made it. However, I was miserable. I saw that there was something bigger there. But like I said in my head, because I didn't want to shift and disrupt my why, I said in my head, like, you know what, I'll do this thing. I'll sacrifice. I'll like stay working. And then my son, I can pour into him and he can go out and do whatever, he can go out and build his business, live his dream. When I started my business, I had to shift my why, because if it came down to protecting my family and giving them things that like I couldn't, in the beginning, starting a business, it's hard. And if it would be very easy to run and say, I got to go back into safety. I've got to go back and do the things that are making my family safe. In the long run, when you have a business, you create that, you create something that I think is bigger than what you probably could get from a job, because you get to create your business. You get to do your thing, and you can make more income than you can make at a job.
Right. It's a legacy.
But in order to get through it, I had to shift my why, and we have a lot of the similarities in the sense of like, who am I to tell my son that he can go do whatever he wants to do? Like, he needs to see it. Like, I need to go live my dream. I need to show him that it's possible. And so when it comes back around and he's giving me the wristband and he sees it, when he sees the coffee going out and the hoodies going out and he sees like just the podcast and just different things going on, it's like, I can go That's the best way to show a kid how to live their dream,
Yeah, my dad can do it.
right?
He's doing exactly what he wants to do every day.
Versus how many times have parents told their kids they need to go do this, this, and this, but they've never done it.
Have to.
Yeah. Yep. Dread it.
And like,
And they didn't do it. They held back to fear. Maybe they wanted to go be a drummer in a band, or they wanted to go be a doctor or whatever it was, or a professional athlete or a top, the quarterback of the team. And so they're pushing their son or their daughter or whatever to be this thing that they weren't.
and they try to live vicariously through their kids. And that proves to be like more dangerous, I feel like, in the long run. Because am I going to sit here and follow the rule book just like dad did and get a great 9 to 5?
Yep.
Or am I going to do exactly what I want, but everything I've ever seen, no one's done exactly what they wanted to do. So I have to be that change.
Even just the lessons, like everything that we've talked about here. Again, the square inch of a man's tongue. I'd never heard that, and I love it.
It's so good.
It's so true, and it ties into everything. Because if you don't go out and have those conversations, if you don't go out and vouch for yourself, if you don't advocate for yourself, nobody will. And that's what a lesson your son is seeing. As he's growing up, that if you want something, you can go get it.
It's easy as that. You just have to put your head down. Get it done. Yeah, it's crazy because he, if he wants something, he's going to be like, hey, Dad, how did you do?
Yep.
How did you get everything you wanted? I'll be able to tell him, And whereas someone who's like, oh, I don't, I could be this.
Yep. Go ask your uncle. I don't know. Yeah. Like, go ask your friend's dad.
Right. That. Go
That's
ask
tough.
the millionaire.
Yeah. Man, Darrin, this has been a phenomenal conversation. I've been looking forward to this one for a couple months. So thank you so much for coming down here. It's been awesome.
Absolutely.